On the Jacob Viewer Show today, I am so happy to be joined by my good friend Bryson Cooper,
Yes, sir.
New Palestine, Indiana.
New Palestine, Indiana. That's right. We are here.
How are you doing today?
Good, man. Just hanging in there. Tired, but been a long week. A long week. Played every day and playing tonight and tomorrow. So been all right. Yeah. How are you?
Good.
Good,
It only
good.
gets more busier for you.
Does. It's summer. It's summer.
So let's first get started. Just because everyone always seems to listen to the first 5 minutes, you got a new song out. We're gonna kind of go backwards in this, and then I'll ask how you got involved in music,
Absolutely.
only because I know people's attention span are short. I hope they listen to the
Absolutely.
entire thing, but
Yeah,
if
yeah.
not, take me through the new song that came out.
Yeah, man. A new song came out today. It's called Don't Even. Basically, story behind it. Wrote it with my good buddies Mason Luce and Davis Parker, or Davis Luce and Mason Parker. And but was talking to this girl that I worked with, and basically went on a few dates, and thought things were getting kind of serious. A few days later, I walked into the bar, and she was with another guy, and I texted her from across the bar. I was with my friends. I said, "You could have just been honest with me." And she texted me back, "Don't even," from across the bar. And 2 days later, we wrote that song, "Don't Even."
Not the girl, right? She had nothing to do with
Yeah, yeah, she had nothing to do with it. No, yeah,
it.
no, me and my buddies wrote that song. Yeah, but so yeah, that's a story behind it, man, and it's kind of turned into this whole thing, and people seem to really love it. It's just this whole bit when I play it out live.
So
But
if this hits the charts, it's because of that girl.
absolutely,
Which there's something
absolutely.
about that.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've been rejected by a girl and then I reach out to somebody who I should not be getting on my show. That's way bigger. So
Absolutely.
don't
I'll send
even,
I'll send her I'll send her a gold record if it ever gets
please.
there.
So take us through a little bit. How did you get started in music? And by the way, I mean, I feel like most people probably know by now, but for any audience that, is watching that might not have YouTube or Spotify, it's also on.
Yeah, yeah. It's, Apple Music, Spotify, anything you want to find your music and stuff like that. But you can go to my Instagram bio and click it there, and it'll take you to wherever you want to find it. So
For sure.
yeah.
So take me through a little bit. How did you get involved in music? Of course, Indianapolis, Indiana, unfortunately, which although there's great country artists that
Yeah.
come, let's be real, it's not the hub for country. Just
Yeah,
as Purdue University is not the hub for journalism, okay?
absolutely.
I'm not a
Yeah.
STEM major.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
obviously you're kind of in the same position there. You're in Nashville a lot,
Absolutely. Yep.
like 3 to 4 days a week. So take
Yep.
me through though before you ended up, moving to Nashville where you kind of got your fall in love as a small town kid.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, from the time I was like three, man, my grandpa put a guitar in my hands growing up. My grandpa had a country band back in the 80s and 90s with like my great uncles and stuff. Um, and growing up, every Saturday they would practice in the garage, and I would just be over there, playing my little guitar and stuff like that. So I grew up with it. And my mom sang, played violin. So I just grew up around it. And by the time I was four, I was playing guitar and singing by myself. Um, Played my first gig by myself when I was five, six, and from there it just kind of spiraled and played in church from the time I was nine to 22, and led worship and all this stuff, and started a band with my uncle when I was about 15, and then 18 we started our local band Reverie with my uncle, my buddy Zach Roach, and my cousin. And that kind of grew into something that I don't think we really knew what would happen around here, because I went to college and we didn't really think of anything of it. And then I transferred back home to IUPUI, and then we started playing a lot more. And we kind of quickly rose to one of the main country bands around Indianapolis, which was kind of cool. We were kind of one of the first calls as one of the
Yep.
local country rock bands. Um, and I think it was just because we were down to earth, local guys who just loved to get together and play, and we were family guys too. So that helped a lot. But that was fun, and like you said, the country scene around here, people love it, but there's not a lot of it,
Yep.
and I think me,
Social media only goes so
yeah,
far.
yeah,
That's the
exactly, yeah,
truth.
and I think me ending up chasing it as well, like me being young, and kind of going after it, also helped a lot in that case, because it's like, all right, this kid kind of gets it a little bit. He's wanting to do it,
Right.
and he's there's not a lot of people around here that are doing that, and shout out to all the musicians in around this town, because there's a lot of them. I have a lot of friends that grind it out in this town, that play every weekend in every bar, around this town. And I did it for a few years, and I just went and saw a buddy play Tin Roof last night, and they do it every weekend, in and out, and we've done it for a long time. And but I knew if I wanted to, extend my career and chase my dreams, I had to get out, and because you can only go so far, staying here. So after I graduated college, I was like, I'm gonna get out of here and move to Nashville. And ever since I moved down there, man, it's just been a spiral. It's just I got connected with the right people, man, and
Awesome.
got connected with some of the best people I could, and it's just been a snowball effect down there with connections and just gigs and Broadway gigs and opening gigs for people that I never thought I'd be opening for, and just stuff like that I'm very blessed and thankful for. So
Of course,
yeah,
Chris Cagle tomorrow, which I'm putting this out probably on late Sunday afternoon
yeah,
after church.
yeah,
But I
absolutely.
guess I'm hoping it doesn't rain by the time people see this.
I
It'll be
know.
over, so don't show up.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Chris Cagle, someone
Chris
opening
Cagle,
for
yeah, yeah.
another one, Russell.
Russell Dickerson,
Yep.
yeah, big time, yeah.
And a couple other ones as
Yeah,
well.
Granger Smith was one.
Rodney Atkins, if I'm
Rodney
correct.
Atkins, yep, yep. Uncle Cracker. Yeah. Yeah, we've got the chance to open for Chris Cagle a few times, actually. So he's probably wondering who the hell we are by now, But yeah, he's a cool dude.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, do you get to, I guess, for opening, like, obviously sometimes singers have like their best friend or their daughter open for them. So of
Yeah,
course
yeah,
they have a beer, they talk before. Do you
absolutely.
get to like talk to them typically
Yeah,
for like
man.
more than 2 seconds?
Yeah, it depends on the artist, honestly. Sometimes you get to talk to their band more than the actual guy, but Russell was actually really cool. He watched my whole set, and
Wow.
like I walked off stage and I didn't even know, but he was right there, and I talked to him for about 10 minutes, just before he went on and stuff, and um, he was really really cool, down to earth guy. It's really just about when you catch him, in that time period. Sometimes if you catch them after their sound check or something like that, you'll catch them at a time where they're just hanging around, and talk to them for a little bit. But and yeah, usually they're just down to earth guys because they just like hanging out,
Yeah.
But usually their band and their crew are always good people, and just guys like me, just who are coming from Nashville, just on the road, hired guns, who either been with that band for a long time, or only been with that band for 2 weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And something, of course, do you have a country artist or not even country, three musicians that you look up to? I ask this question to
Yeah.
everybody.
Yep.
John Rich said right behind me is a Johnny Cash thing, and I constantly am writing lyrics as I walk around my house looking at Johnny Cash lyrics.
Absolutely.
Do you have somebody like that? Not probably not Johnny Cash,
Yeah.
but do you have somebody like that? Some three,
Yeah,
four
I've got
people?
three or four. So the Eagles for sure. My favorite band of all time. We got this Eagles tattoo right here. But just to me, they're the best band of all time. Most hostile band of all time as well, for their own good. um, Keith Whitley is my favorite country artist of all time. Died too young. Um, but modern day, I'd have to say maybe Riley Green. Um, One, because yeah, he just doesn't care too much. He just kind of does his own thing. Puts out albums when he wants to, songs when he wants to,
Is
and
he signed by or is
yeah,
he is signed by?
He's signed. It's just like he just goes out and hunts, and that's all he really cares about. He's like, I'm gonna put out an album when I want to, but man, he writes his own songs, and I think there's something to be said about that.
Yep, writing.
You know, people write their own songs, and like he wrote this song called Jesus Saves this year. In the songwriting community in Nashville is probably the best written song this year, and he wrote it by himself, which is crazy because you get a lot of rooms in Nashville. It's mostly three people in a room, and they'll give it to a big artist for them to sing or something. But when I saw that Riley wrote it by himself, I'm like, man, that's impressive. But yeah, I would say people like that, and then Keith Urban. It's probably another one big influence on my
He lives in
sound.
Nashville now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
He's originally from New
yeah,
Zealand, if
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
correct, or
Australia,
Australia.
Australia. Yeah, he's got a big influence on my sound right now. Kind of influencing my sound after his like 09 to 15. Kind of taking a modern take on it a little bit. So, but also staying true to who I am, but kind of um, taking a little bit out of that book a little bit. Yeah,
No doubt. And of course, something that I want to be clear is, and you write your own songs too.
absolutely.
Every single person that I've ever interviewed on here, from John Rich,
Yeah,
who's written songs for other people, of
yeah,
course, including Taylor
yeah,
Swift. But
yeah.
every
Funny.
person, including now Bryson, Five for Fighting Two, have all written their own songs. So that's
Absolutely.
something that I like about our guest.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's cool when you write your own
Yeah.
music.
And you'll find most people do. It's when a lot of people get to a certain point, they don't have to anymore. Like, Blake Shelton or, guys like Jason Aldean, they don't have to anymore.
So try that in a small town he did not write.
No, no, he did not. But, it's, they just get too busy for their own good. And when they get so big, and then got families and stuff like that, it's like, all right, now I have guys writing for me. It's like, I mean, there's something to be said about still writing and stuff like that. I'm
Yep,
sure they do it, but it's like when I'm going to put an album out, if I'm writing mediocre songs, why would I put that out
for
when
sure.
people are writing better songs for me? So, but there's something to be said for most artists that in Nashville today still writing for themselves. Guys like Morgan Wallen and Hardy and Ernest and Riley Green, Luke Combs, all those big guys are still writing for themselves,
Sure.
but also have writers writing for them as
Which,
well.
speaking of Luke Combs, I just got to put this out there because it's kind of a country more so interview.
Yeah,
Um, Fast Car is not Luke Combs' song, it's
yeah,
Tracy
yeah,
Chapman.
yeah,
So I just want to
absolutely,
put that out
yes,
there. And you ought to know the history behind it if you're a Luke Combs fan,
yes,
because a lot of the songs, which there's no problem with it, I think he does Fast Car
yeah,
excellently. Him and Tracy at I think CMA or ACM
yes.
did the song together.
It was no, it was the Grammys.
Grammys,
Grammys,
yeah.
yeah, cool.
But there's that song was from somebody else. So I
Yes,
just want to put
yes.
that out there.
It's so funny when people come request play Luke Combs. I'm like, what song? Fast Car.
Do you know who wrote it
Yes,
actually?
yeah. I'm like,
Which,
dude,
by the
I'm
way,
like,
I think he does a
yeah.
really good
He
job.
does. It's
Both
awesome. Yeah,
Tracy and Luke have nailed that
absolutely,
song, but
absolutely.
that's actually Tracy's song.
Yes.
So, and then kind of the last thing I wanted to cover is what is something that you've experienced in Nashville
Hmm.
that, well, I guess two things. What's something you've experienced in Nashville that most people wouldn't know? And followed by that, do you have a favorite venue of all time anywhere?
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's a good closer.
Yeah. 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 I would say something in Nashville. Okay. I would say just the connections you make down there. It's like the small town of it. It's very small town. People will think Nashville is this big city. It's really everybody knows everybody down there, man. It's one of these things. You go down there, and it's very small, especially in the music community. Um, you meet all these people, and everybody knows everybody down there, which is good and bad. It's you gotta stay on your toes, and make sure you don't burn bridges and stuff like that. But I would say I moved down there and got this job down there, and it helped me make connections. And luckily, I've been able to meet a lot of good people, and meet some really cool people along the way, and um, meet these guys called Raise Rowdy, who are awesome. they're like the bar stool of country music, which I like to call them. But I get to go with them to country concert in Fort Laramie, Ohio, in a few weeks, and
Which that is, if I'm correct, that's where I think Big and Rich are playing.
I think they are. Yeah,
Lainey Wilson.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Who else did I just see the other day? How far is it away from here?
It's like a couple hours, yeah. So I get to hang out with them all weekend and just get to go to that concert for free, probably meet a few folks and so it's cool. You just get to meet connections like that and if you're really genuine with people and you just never know what you get to do,
Yeah.
like and honestly, so it's just small like that, if you're genuine with people, everybody knows everybody. And but for me it's like people don't know also that writing down there is like the key. You get in these rooms with people and there's always like three people in these rooms. That's another thing. It's like, but you find your group. Everyone has these like cliques they write in. So I kind of have the group I write with, but that's another thing which is cool. But everyone's after a publishing deal, a record deal. Everyone's after that. So they're always trying to write these songs, and it can get tiring. It can get kind of disappointing sometimes. But just got to keep going. You play all these shows and one after another, and but then you get a show like Russell Dickerson, it's like, all right, maybe I'm doing something
Yep.
right.
But speaking of shows, do you have a favorite venue?
Yeah, venue down there in Nashville. I do play Hayden Juniors every week. It's a cool venue, but I think my favorite venue I've played down there.
Have you met Hank Jr.?
I have not. I want to. Seems like a cool dude, but I'm sure I might here at some point. I'm sure he'll stop by, maybe get the opportunity to. But I would say my favorite venue down there that I played is Miranda Lambert's Rooftop, maybe. Dude, it's really fun on like a Friday, Saturday night.
Have you been to Big and Rich's?
Redneck Riviera. Yeah, it's really cool bar, honestly. It's really small and like it's a good time in there. And
So have you performed there?
I have not performed there, no. But there's another place off Second Ave called Doc Holiday's. Small bar and like hole in the wall, and it's really fun to play in too. They got this spin the wheel that people can spin this wheel, and like I don't know, it's just like a bunch of like options, free shot, a bunch of like flash the bartenders kind of stuff.
Wow.
It's like or like I don't know. Tip the band $100, like
Wow.
stuff like that. Yeah, it's just
Dang.
like it's like crazy
That's
stuff.
your favorite one.
Yeah, that's my favorite one. That's my favorite one, man. You just
Then
there's
you pay for all the shots in the
exactly,
building, right?
man, exactly, yeah. But then
I get them to donate $400 after.
yeah, exactly, dude, exactly, yeah. My favorite new bar though is Garth Brooks' new bar. Yeah, Friends in Low Places, man. And, it's a they did it right. They did it right. I'm excited to play there too.
Now, if you don't mind me asking,
Yeah.
how often do these country stars come into the bars that they some
It
more than
depends. It's
others?
some more than others. Like Garth, he comes in more often because he actually owns that one.
Have you met him ever?
I have not met Garth. Eric Church owns his new bar. A lot of these bars just have people's names on it. I think that's another thing that people probably don't know is like TC Entertainment Group owns most of these bars down there. So like Morgan Wallen's, Jason Aldean's, Laney Wilson's, Miranda's, TC Entertainment Group owns all this. They're just paying for the name on the bar. So it's like these they're just paying the artist a cut to put slap their name on this bar, basically.
Wow.
Which the artist will come by, but it's not like they own the bar by any means.
I think John Rich does own.
John Rich, yes, that's another one.
And the reason
yeah.
why I say John Rich is not just because he's been on the show, but that guy right there, he came to Nashville. He didn't let people talk in his ear.
Yeah.
And he kind of ran an underground mafia.
Absolutely.
He wasn't. He did an entirely different approach than with Morgan Wallen.
100%.
And I think that's why he's fascinated me on that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, no one.
And he's not the only one, but
Yeah,
compared to how he did it and others.
I mean, compared to how he did it and others did it, 20 years ago, you can't do that these
No,
days.
you can't.
And you won't be able to do it these days. I mean, now that's another thing. Now it's all about social media numbers. How many streams you got, how many followers you got, how many likes you getting on your posts.
Right.
That's what they care about. It's like that can get discouraging too. But um, it doesn't matter. It's like as long as you're putting out good music and um, you know making your fans proud and continually growing. I think that's the biggest thing because eventually it'll pay off in the end. So I think it's the biggest thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, man. Just got streaming a new song. Very proud of it, and there'll be a lot more songs coming out this year and next year. So.